pop for your girl.
That's right, it's a podcast.
It's pop for your girl.
We got to go out.
Pop for your girl. It's pop for your girl.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It is your girl with GOCHI here, and welcome back to Pod for Your Girl. Listen, I have an amazing guest with me today. Her name is Miss Tiffany, Yvonne, Ellis, and if you do not know her already, get ready to meet a phenomenal corporate girlie. Listen, she has a story to tell today, and I'm super excited for her. But first of all, y'all, I just want to give her flowers right now because she is this episode's Go Girl. Go Tiffany! Listen, let me tell you why you're this episode's Go Girl. Okay, I have had the pleasure to follow you on TikTok, and before TikTok, I was following you on Instagram, and you do some amazing things. You are so encouraging and such a light, and I just feel like anybody who comes across your page is gonna be inspired from corporate America. Okay, she has been in corporate America for 21 years, you guys. So she's gonna tell us her story about that. Also, she is an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur right now. G&'s Juices. When I just follow her juicing, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm telling y'all, she's gonna tell y'all about some of the things she's been able to do in her entrepreneurship journey, and it is truly going to inspire you guys. But the most number one thing, y'all, that I really want to tell y'all why she is our Go Girl on today's episode is because of her TikTok. I know. Y'all like TikTok, what? Listen, I follow her on TikTok and she just is so inspiring. Like, she really tells it all. She will let you know, how her day is going, her lifestyle, like everything that she's going through. And she's no cap.
I always have on a cap.
And that's okay because you look fly. But you keep it so real on your TikTok, and your journey, you never know like what you're going through and how it can encourage somebody else. And your transparency is for real why you get the Go Girl on today. So
I appreciate that, and I'll say that, there is a shortage of people who are willing to be real about what they're dealing with in life. And so I think that's one of the things I've been called to do, using my voice and my platform to be able to just be a truth teller, whatever that truth is, no matter how ugly it could be or how beautiful it is, right? Just using that space to tell the truth.
Yes. And so she's going to tell it all today, you guys. So get into the episode. So this episode, y'all, is for all of my corporate girlies out there. Anyone wanting to be a corporate girlie, she's going to keep it real with us today and tell us, for women of color, what's it really looking like out there, okay? And so, but also, if you're in the entrepreneurship space, she has so much wisdom that she can pour out into you guys. So whether you're going into corporate America or whether you are leaving corporate America to go full time, she is really going to inspire you guys today. Okay, so let me stop talking it up and let's get into the episode because I'm ready. I am so ready to talk to my friend right now. All right, sis, you gotta tell us about your entrepreneurship and your business and everything that God is doing in your life right now. So I want to hear about that and know about that. And so, yes.
So what I'll say, and I know we're going to talk about this during the conversation, but what I'll say is I've been a corporate girlie for, like you said, 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And recently I was blessed with the opportunity to transition into full-time entrepreneurship.
Yay!
And I call it a blessing because, most people who have followed my journey know that I started my cold pressed juice business last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I had momentum. I experienced momentum that I wasn't planning for. But that's how you know that God is in the midst of something. And so things just started happening that could only be God.
Yes.
And when it started happening, people are like, oh, when are you quitting your job, girl? You need to quit that job and, et cetera. But I have to be real. And I made a video about this on TikTok, right? I said, I had a corporate job that paid me well. I got to travel to places I've never been before.
Right.
I got to do things that I never had the opportunity to do with other companies. So I wasn't in a corporate job that made me feel like I hate corporate America. And I wasn't ready to leave. You get what I'm saying?
I feel you.
But when God moves, God moves. And so I started to use language like, God, just align me with my purpose. Like, make sure that I'm doing my work and your will. Put me where I'm supposed to be. Give me my people, those kinds of things. And as I'm singing these prayers, not realizing how powerful my words really are. I got a call. I got a call from our VP. And I have to say this real quick. I survived maybe 3 layoffs. Last year, Amazon laid off 27,000 people.
Wow.
And so many of them had my exact job description. Okay.
What?
But I was protected during this time, and it was for a reason, right? And I always say it was for a reason. And so even with the layoff that I am now going through, when I got the call about the layoff, I was saying to myself, okay, well, if I'm going to lose my job, because DEI has been on the chopping block for years now, with all the craziness happening in this country, which we can talk about too. But when I got the call to tell me that I was losing my job, the one thing I was saying was, Lord, please just let me get my, I have some stocks that were vesting in Amazon.
Yes.
So I was like, please just let me get my stocks, because I got some plans for that. And when this lady called me to lay me off, the VP, she said, we're eliminating your position.
Right.
She said, I saw that you have some stocks coming up in November. And so we usually give you 60 days, but I'm going to push the day out to make sure that you get your stock.
Praise
I was like, look at God, right?
Come on.
And then she says, we would love for you to stay with the company. Take this time. You don't have to do any more work for Amazon, but you'll still be on payroll through December. And if you don't find another role, then we'll give you severance. And the severance was like 4 weeks plus an additional week for every 6 months. And I've been there about 4.5 years. I was like, you mean to tell me that God has given me pretty much 6 months of paid time to now focus on my business? And so when that happened, I said, there could be a clearer message that I am supposed to be moving into my business, this is the time to know it, right? And so I said, okay, thank you. And I kind of settle into the reality of like, oh crap, I just lost my job.
Yes.
But then after I took a day or so to kind of process it, I posted on LinkedIn. People started reaching out, hey, I have roles in my department. Because when you do right and you do well and you work like you're working for God, people see that.
They see that.
They see that. 100%. And you're going to always have an opportunity. So in the back of my head, I know now I'm always going to have an opportunity. But I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to take any of these advances because God is already, He's spoken. He's spoken, right?
Come on.
Like, our fear is like, well, girl, you got this bill coming. This, you got that. So fear is going to tell you, take that job.
Take the
Don't
job.
be crazy. But God has spoken already.
Come on.
And so I had to say, no, I'm not going to take the job. Like, thank you so much for reaching out. And what I would always say to everyone, I had 4 people reach out. I said, can I come back to you if I ever need to in the future? And they said, yes. Okay. I'll tell you how to support me when I'm ready. They say, okay, I'll leave it there. And so right now, I'm in the process of trying to figure out the things. And there are some days where it gets scary, and I'm like, God, I know you see this better than I do, so I'm going to let you do this. But I don't have the answers, and I'm okay with not having the answers. I have faith. And that's all I have right now. And that's enough.
That's enough. Come on, man. Like, God, He be wanting all of us. Like, for real, for real. He wants the full thing. He's like, and I want you to talk about just like your entrepreneurship journey from, I know you started back in 2019, I believe. And so from then to now, like, how has that journey been, like, in just the space of going from side hustle to full time? Like, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, what I will say is God uses everything. So if you are listening to this podcast, okay, understand God uses everything. And I'm going to give you an example of why I say this. So in 2018, I was working for a company here in Atlanta that I absolutely loved. I loved my job. I was doing well. I was on the fast track. Things were moving really well for me in my career. My husband got an opportunity with Amazon. He was the one that went first, actually.
Okay.
And so he got an opportunity, and that opportunity moved him to Dallas, Texas.
Gotcha.
It completely shifted our plans, right? Because we were here, we had our house here. I was working at this job, I loved it. And then when he got this new role, I had to leave the company to go to Dallas. I actually tried to stay with the company, and we may be able to talk about that in this episode, but all I can say is, I didn't have the experience I thought I was going to have being a top performer in that company when it was time to move.
Gotcha.
So that was a heartbreaking experience, but I moved to Dallas, Texas. I was only there for a year. I moved to Tampa. I was only there for a year. I moved back to Atlanta 3 years later.
I think I remember this.
Right?
I don't remember.
But here's the thing. when I moved to Texas, I met the person who later on ended up being the person who designed my logo for my business. When I moved to Texas, I took a class that taught me how to make cold pressed juices.
Wow.
Because I was buying juices from a company here in Atlanta for about a year and a half or so. Every single week I was spending a lot of money with this company. And the juices were okay. But it just, so when I got to Texas, I wanted to learn how to make my own juices, but I didn't have any information on like what to do.
Yeah.
I took a class. Her name was Elizabeth Ironbar. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Just go, Elizabeth.
But Elizabeth held a class about how to make juices and teaching us about the things. And that kind of piqued my interest. And so after the class, I went out and I bought a juicer. Now, I was only in Dallas for a year. Then I'm gone, right? And so I go to Tampa. I meet some other folks there who I am now doing business with as well.
Wow.
And so it's like, when I take a step back and look at it, God was so intentional. I'm like, hey, you need to meet this person while you're here. You need to meet that person while you're there. Now I need you back here. And then when I come back to Atlanta, they now start building the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship, which is the only place like it in this country for Black businesses.
Wow.
And so the center that I'm a part of, I'm a stakeholder there. They have a curriculum that teaches you basically how to build your business from the ground up, how to scale. They get you advisors, they get you resources, they bring in executives from different companies, they give you uncommon access to opportunities. And I'm like,
amazing.
Look at how God has used all of these different transitions to put me in this position. And so right now, even as I'm getting ready to enter into this full-time season of entrepreneurship, I have all the resources I need. I have all the connections I'm needing for now, because I'll have other ones because God does that, right? And I'm just in position to be a star player.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. See, this is my go girl.
Thank you.
Just go on ahead. Ooh, I love it. I love it. Listen, I am so inspired already. Okay. If y'all not inspired, I don't know what y'all doing over there. Turn the volume up. Okay. But I also want to ask you, you mentioned DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and what that was that you were actually doing for your corporate job?
I can. So the last position I had in corporate, because I've worked in different capacities for different companies. When I first started with Amazon, which is where I was working, I first started in their warehouse. I was a manager in the warehouse. Okay. And then I was able to move into a corporate position from there. Wow. So a lot of people don't know that I started in the warehouse.
No, I didn't know that.
Because I had always been a corporate girlie, but when I was applying for roles at Amazon, I actually applied for a ton of corporate roles. Now I get a call back. I applied for a role in the warehouse. I got a call back. Right? But it was a good experience because what it helped me to understand was the experiences of a lot of people who work for the company who don't always have a voice. Right? Like, a lot of companies focus on the corporate employees. They focus on the employees who are hourly, who are really not customer facing, but customer facing, right? Yes. So it gave me that experience and that understanding of how the company culturally works before I moved into corporate. And then when I started working in corporate, I was fortunate to become a program manager. First, I was a national program manager. Right. So I basically supported HBCUs and Hispanic serving institutions within the United States. And I did some programming there for about 7-8 months. A lot of folks who know me on LinkedIn saw that we held the Beyond the Yard HBCU conference. Okay. And we brought in 300 students from all over the country, from where the HBCUs are, and held a 4-day experience in Washington, D.C., and it was life-changing. And I still talk to some of these students to this day. Wow. But then after I was in that role and had the chance to do that really cool thing, I moved into a global program manager role. So then I started to support data center. Data center operations, which basically houses the 60% of the world's internet. I started to work for that organization, supporting the employees who work in the data centers. And get this, the employees who work in the data centers are pretty much the same employees who work in the warehouses. Wow. So then I have an understanding of their world. Because when I'm coming and talking to them, I get that credibility because they know that A, you worked in a warehouse, and B, you understand what we're going through because you've been in this kind of environment before. Whereas a lot of my corporate colleagues didn't have that same experience. They came in from corporate, so they didn't understand what it felt like to work shift work and to have to deal with the culture of being in a data center or a warehouse. And so, I did that for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
And then that's when the conversation started happening about you heard Dr. Phil said that a couple of days ago. DEI didn't create opportunities, blah, 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 blah. People don't understand that the people who are working diversity, equity, and inclusion are the ones making sure that you can read the job requirements when you apply for a job, are the ones making sure that when you apply for a job that you have representation in the interview so you don't feel like you're like an outlier. And they're the ones who are advocating for you when you are, after you've interviewed, to make sure that you get the job.
That's good.
We're the ones making sure the onboarding is consistent so that everybody's being set up to win and not fail.
Wow.
The ones making sure that your performance evaluations are not graded based on subjective feeling, but subjective performance. We're the ones calling out when there's inequity in promotions. We're the ones making sure that, you're being treated fairly and given the same opportunities as other people to showcase your talent. I could go on and on and on about what DEI people do, but when you see companies cutting these positions, it disheartens me because we are a voice for the people.
Right.
We don't get to have a voice.
Yes. No, 100%. Like, I think that, I don't know. I don't know if it's like based on the company or based on like, the actual, like, I just don't, I don't know enough about it to actually say like, I can actually have a conversation with you. So you're going to have to teach us. You have to teach us. You got to teach the people. Like, I do know my husband, he does a little bit of work. Like, he's a videographer. Okay. So he does a little bit of work with a well-known company and their DEI program. And their DEI program is beautiful. It's beautiful. They haven't cut it. And we're praying that they don't cut it. But can you actually teach us a little bit of why organizations would want to cut it? Like, why would they want to cut something like that? Like, teach the people now.
Hey, this is what I will say. DEI is not an input-output kind of game. So when I say that, it's like
making money type of thing.
It's like if I'm running a business and I run an ad, I can look at the ad spend and see how much money it generates, and it will tell me whether or not this is a good ad or not. Right? With DEI, it's a long play.
Gotcha.
So there's never really going to be an immediate, like, quantifiable this and that
return on your investment, like right then and there. Like, it's like probably going to be in the future, like way later on down in the company or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Or it could be immediate if you're willing to acknowledge the different things that DEI impacts. So example is if you have an org where you have a lot of turnover because people feel like the managers are not good managers, they're not getting opportunities to move up, they're not being paid fairly, right? So then DEI folks are the ones advocating for, hey, let's make sure they're paid right. Hey, let's make sure that we have representation in leadership.
Gotcha.
And then you start to see that people start staying, or if you send out employee surveys and the survey results start to change, that kind of tells you that DEI initiatives are working, right? But companies like to attribute it to bottom line dollar. And so say, well, there's no money in this. But it's like they're not willing to acknowledge the money that they're losing because of their non-inclusive practices. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense. So you kind of got to take the advice of the people that you hire to do the job. Like, you got to like really take what they're saying and actually now create around that space versus like, okay, we know y'all here, y'all said that, but we still gonna do it this way.
The part that's hard too, and I'll say this, and this is not a knock on people, but it is what it is. A lot of the folks who make the decisions about DEI have never been impacted by a lack of diversity, equity, or inclusion. So it's like they have this privilege of not really having to understand why we're advocating so hard for this, right? I think the unfortunate part is like when I came up in corporate, and I know that corporate America, it is what it is. It gets its rap. It's earned its rap. Say that. But I was in leadership for a big part of my career, and it was a requirement to be an inclusive leader. It was a requirement to have equitable practices, to the extent that it could be measured, right? Because there are some companies who still kind of do whatever they want to do and just don't track it.
Right.
But most of the companies I worked for, I can say We got 360 surveys. We had people telling us how they felt. There were checks and balances in place. We're moving away from that because as you see the Ted Cruzes and the Greg Abbotts and all these different politicians, Donald Trump's, all the people talking about how we need to get rid of DEI. What they're saying is get rid of the checks and balances. Make it so that we don't have this system where everybody's treated fairly. About that. And so when it's not being measured, it can go unchecked.
It can go unchecked.
There you go.
Now we need to check, y'all. We needed to go. We needed to go through these systems. No, we bring it back. Well, we want to really give you your flowers today just for being in that space. We see you, sis, and whatever. And I know the people who were impacted while you were there, they are still being impacted. So we are going to say thank you. I don't know if they told you thank you, but thank you. Okay.
So many of them reached out to me when they found out that I was gone from the company. I got so many LinkedIn messages like, I'm so sad. I can't believe this. They were very hurt by it.
Wow.
But for me, that was like, that's what I needed to see. It's not about the other stuff. The people who I was working for knew that I was their advocate. They knew that my presence meant something for them. And that was enough for me.
Oh, 100%. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to put some prayer on that, on the DEI programs out there. Like, we are praying for you guys, everybody out there in this space. Like, do not feel stressed out, worried, or anxiety about the situation. Just know God is in control, like, for real. So go, girl. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're excited to see what all God is going to do in your life. Okay. And so she's still with us, you guys. We're going to dive into our next segment, which is the Patch Your Weave segment, which I was anxious to get to a little while ago because I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about some things, okay? I feel like I got an expert here. So
thank you.
I can get her opinion on all the things, okay? All right, so since you were in the corporate space, and for those of y'all that don't know, Patch Your Weave segment, we try to break different stereotypes. And since today is all about the corporate girlies, we want to really try to break these corporate stereotypes that may be out there for women of color. And so I know you are, I know you know some of the ones that I have written down. So there's a few stereotypes that I want to talk about. So the first one is like the category ones where I feel like you can be categorized based on your race. So like you have the angry Black woman, you have the submissive or quiet Asian woman, and then you have like the fiery Latina, right? And so those are stereotypes because when you enter into that space and someone just puts this label on you and you feel like you can't act like yourself based off of what the media has portrayed about me being an angry Black woman, or the media has portrayed about being a quiet, submissive Asian woman, or being a fiery Latina. It doesn't, anytime I feel passionate about something, which I have been passionate about things many times. And when you're in a space that's so buttoned up, they're like, well, why are you so mad? Why are you angry? Like, I don't understand. Why are you talking like that? Why are you using that tone? Like, they just don't understand. And I've had to really explain myself several times. So for me, like, I was never in like technical corporate America, but I've always been in like ministry corporate. And so sometimes, like, you get passionate about different things and like, it's like, well, why are you upset? And it's just like, when you're in a space where everyone doesn't look like you, it's like, well, I have to talk like this, or I have to be like this, or I have to be like that because, this is what y'all are used to. And so, just not being able to truly be yourself because you're afraid of this stereotype being put on you. Have you ever experienced that? Or okay. So it's still going on. Like okay. And you would think that it would not. Yeah. I'm like, why though? We want that to go away.
It's a means of oppression, right? And so I think if I can get you to not show up as whatever your authenticity or your truth is, that I have a way to control you, and I have a way to control your reactions, and I have a way to control how this plays out. What those stereotypes did for me was make me a mean emailer. When I tell you I I can read you a filthy email and you will never even know that
You will
read.
never know.
And I'm so good now. My poker face in corporate.
Okay.
My questions, right? What those stereotypes did for me was it taught me a different way to communicate.
Oh, that's
right?
good. Okay.
And so, yes, the stereotypes are going to exist. I have been called angry or why are you so upset? And I would say, well, would you mind helping me to unpack that? So when you call me upset, like what is exactly that I did that might make you feel as though I'm upset? Because I'm certainly not upset, right? I could be fiery on upset, but I want you to tell me what you're perceiving as being upset.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna call you out on it when I need to, right? I'm gonna ask you the question, and typically if you start to ask the question in a very even tone, people back off of it because they know, okay, this is not going to work. It's not going to be in motion. And the other thing I do, and Black women, I'm going to tell you this specifically.
Come on and talk to me.
I know that it's hard, and I live in two worlds, right? One world where I'm willing to be honest about bring your emotions, bring your full self, but I understand the land in which we live and work. And I'm going to tell you that you have to develop a very even demeanor. Okay. When you develop I'm learning and a very even reputation, it is very difficult, even if you are identifying as a Black woman, for someone to say, "Oh, she's this, she's that," because everyone's only seen you be even. You get right. It's made me less vocal.
Okay.
People would not know that I'm this vocal as I am on TikTok in the work environment because I don't give them that.
So, okay, but how do you feel like when you do that, you're suppressing yourself though? Like, yeah, I'm asking. Like, do you feel like you're suppressing yourself? Because I think that's always been my pushback. Like, you know, in ministry, like I would never tone myself down. Like I would never make myself be something that I'm not. Like, this is who I am. Yeah. This is who I've always been. Like, I'm passionate for a reason. Just because y'all see angry Black woman, it's not angry Black woman. It's really passionate about the gospel, passionate about the faith, wanting to see, ministry move forward, wanting to see, God's kingdom go forward. So it's not, and I just feel like my expression about that shouldn't really matter. Like it shouldn't, because I never am focused on how the other person's delivery is. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like, their focus on my delivery, that's even questionable. I know we're talking about two different things, but the spaces, the environments, because a lot of these environments and churches, and this is no bash to the church now, because I love the church. I go hard for the church. Don't come for me. Okay. But a lot of the churches have become multicultural, and it's like, there's a mix of cultures. And so it doesn't mean, just because there's a mix of cultures, it doesn't mean that everybody is well versed on one another's culture. You know what I mean? And so even with corporate America, it's the same thing. Like we have, the DEI program. We have different, programs. And this is going to get into my next stereotype, which is being like a token hire, where someone is like hired based on their ethnicity just to kind of bring a little bit of color, bring a little bit of razzle dazzle. But you really wasn't expecting that person to really step up to the plate and be like this real hire. You know what I mean? So when they start speaking up and doing things, you're like, wait a second, you were only here to just say we have a Asian woman or we needed a woman, so we hired you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so in those spaces, you're not really there to really, you weren't really expecting me to go hard in my prayer. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
You said a lot.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's good, but okay, let's break it up. So the first thing I'm going to say is, with the passion, one thing that I kind of came to an agreement with within myself is everybody doesn't deserve my passion. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm a very passionate person and I go full out, like I dance full out every time I'm dancing.
Okay.
But it's like in corporate America, sometimes you have those spaces where you are able to truly give authentically. And those are the spaces when leaders are able to cultivate those kinds of spaces. Ooh. Those are the spaces where people thrive, where teams thrive, because everybody can bring their passion, their energy, their effort, and you can really dance full out.
Yeah.
if you create an environment where I'm not allowed to bring my passion, then you're going to get the part of me that you get. Now, I'm still going to work like I'm working for the
Okay.
So when I talk about being in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I want to say this honestly, but then also respectfully, I can say that the org that I was in last, I could not dance without. Right? But it didn't mean that I didn't show up for the employees that I was supposed to support. So I'm still going to find a way to say what I need to say, but I'm going to keep my even demeanor. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you had allowed me to dance full out, we could have had a better performance.
You would have, right.
You get what I'm saying? And so I always kind of reconcile internally, like, you get to decide how much you're going to benefit from having me here.
I feel you.
You won't have me forever.
I feel you.
I always knew, and anybody who I worked with the last year can tell you, when I was on conference calls with them, I would say to them, I'm really interested in creating a repeatable process. And I want to document this because I know I'm not going to be in this space forever. And whoever succeeds me needs to be able to continue this for the people who care. Because the people who are making the decisions don't care about these people. I do, right?
Yes.
But had you allowed me to dance full out, you could have had an even more robust program.
Right.
Allow me to dance full out. I'm going to do my job. You're going to get the part that you can take. You get what I'm saying?
That's so good.
It's not suppressing yourself. It's learning to control your reaction. Because what I'm learning is, as I'm going to do business with so many different people, right, wrong, or indifferent, most of the people I'm doing business with kind of look the same. The people who have the power in this country, who have the power, because I'll say, God has the power.
Yeah.
Who have the power, the influence, the opportunity. They move a certain way. They conduct business a certain way. And so you have to have a poker face when you're playing the game.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you. It is hard. It is hard because I've always been that person where I'm just like, I don't know, like I can't conform to that. And I feel like my prayer in this space, and don't get me wrong though, for you corporate girlies out there, please listen to what she's saying. For anybody, like if you feel like this is resonating with you, like you hitting a wall, this is some good insight. Like for real. I think for me on the other side is just like my prayer has been like, God, like, bring me the people who understand me in this season that can walk with me and you understand like who I am, because I know for me, this is personal now. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but this is personal. Like if you're so passionate about something and you're so driven and you don't want to feel like you're toning yourself down or being, suppressed or whatnot, then maybe make that your prayer and not or find spaces that, because I really love what you said. Like if you create a space for me to run and thrive and be who I am, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Maybe find those spaces and, and it's okay. It's okay if you can't be in that space where, they are all so buttoned up and don't accept who you are. It's okay if you can't be in that space. But for me, it took me a little while to get that. I'm just not really getting it because of what you said. I'm just like, Dad, that just wasn't the space for me. Like I wasn't supposed to be in that space. This is.
Your podcasting, right? My business.
Yes.
And so I get to dance full out of my business. And now God can see, okay, so you want to dance full out. There you go. You got it. Now what are you going to do? Show me this performance, right?
Love it.
I think that's what happens, right? So maybe the environment is the practice, because I learned some skills, right? Like I learned how to write white papers. I learned how to test and iterate and experiment. I learned how to deliver results. I learned how to quantify impact. I learned all these things that were given to me in this space that didn't allow me to dance full out. But maybe it was because I needed to be focused on not dancing full out and getting the skills.
Yes.
And then dance full out in my business. You get what I'm saying?
That's good.
So what
it prepared you. It prepared you for your space.
So where you are, so think about, you talk about the spirit-filled spaces you're in now. Maybe you're supposed to be getting something else. This is your dress rehearsal.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
When you get here, when you get into your ministry, whatever you're going to do, create something that allows you to dance full out. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Come on. I told y'all I was excited for this. I'm
I want to say too, right? You talked about the token Black.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you this. And I love my ERGs, y'all, my employee resource groups and all that. I love them. The most harm has been done to me, though. in those spaces, in these work environments. So companies will have what they call employee resource groups.
Okay.
And typically, they will form these groups to create a sense of belonging for people who identify as. So for instance, we'll have like the LGBTQIA plus community,
Yes.
Latinos Ag, we'll
Yes.
have, Black Employee Network, we'll have different things. When you bring together people from across the diaspora, there's this lack of education that exists around each of our experiences individually and collectively. And so much harm happens in these spaces.
Wow.
And so what I will say is, I use my time in corporate as the time to also educate and to extend grace and build relationships. When I was in spaces with other Black employees, especially, where harm was caused because, let's say there is a perceived token who's getting opportunities that maybe somebody was more qualified for, because we ain't got time to unpack how corporate still plays the games of separating people and keeping people.
Like that playing competition. Like they want y'all to compete so that like you do a better job. No, I'm gonna do a better job, and like y'all both doing really good jobs, and now like y'all keep competing. Yes, sis.
Keeping us divided.
Keeping you divided.
And so when harm would be caused, I would have those conversations, and I would tell, I'm unashamed.
Ooh, how you had? Hold on now. How you had these conversations now? Tell us how you did that.
I'm intentional about maintaining a space of grace, especially for other Black people. I would always say that. So if I had a disagreement with somebody at work, especially if it was a sister or a brother, I would call them to the side and say, listen, I'm intentional about maintaining a space of grace for us. But this was not okay. And I'm going to tell you why I felt it wasn't okay. And I would have that conversation. And I could go on record, and somebody might watch this and say, she don't have that conversation with me. Because I was big on, I'm not going to let the system separate us.
Ooh.
That's been done already.
But, okay. Hold on now. But if you have that conversation and they go back to, like, y'all never had that conversation, what do you do?
Then I can't. I can't. I'm gonna give you the courtesy of having the conversation once. And I'm going to explain the what, the why, the how. I'm going to give you an example of what should have happened based on how I feel. And I'm going to give you the space to tell what you think. Okay? If this happens again, it's because you've chosen. At that point, it's no longer ignorance. But as a leader, I was always taught, if I never taught someone how to do something, I can never assume they know.
Right.
And so even when I led teams of people, you could work there for 10 years and I could come on board yesterday. If you're on my team, I'm going to still give you the courtesy of showing you what I know to make sure that you know it in the way that I know before I hold you accountable for not doing it the way that we've been talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same thing in relationships. I'm going to have that conversation with you. We're going to get clear. If you turn around and do the same thing, it's because you've chosen that path, not because you don't understand what you're doing.
So like my thing is, do you walk away from the team? Do you not work with that individual anymore? Or do you not, communicate with that individual anymore? You just email them, like y'all still, because you're not going to quit your job based off of one person.
Hey, you guys, now we are going to have a word from our episode sponsors. Yes, you guys, we got sponsors. Check these amazing products out. Okay, let's talk about finding the best products for your business without breaking the bank. Whether you're just starting out or been running your side hustle for a while, sourcing quality, high quality, affordable products is key to growing and scaling your business. Okay, so that's why I'm excited to tell you about DHgate. Yes, you guys, if you haven't heard of DHgate, it's a one-stop online marketplace where you can find just about anything for your business at wholesale prices. From fashion, beauty products to electronics and home goods, DHgate connects you directly with suppliers. Yes, y'all, so no middleman, helping you save on every order. I know how tough it is to keep costs low while still offering your customers top-notch products, but with DHgate, you can do both. And the best part, they offer buyer protection, so you can shop with confidence knowing your purchases are safe. So if you're ready to stock up and save big, click the DHgate link in this episode's description and start saving using DHgate today. Guys, don't forget to use the discount code GOCHI and go check out Ritual right now. I promise y'all, I'm using this fertility support drink. It's a 3-in-1 drink, and it really does help you guys. Most of all, the taste is really, really good. I know you guys, some of y'all may have help while you are on this journey to motherhood, and you may be using products that don't taste as good, that you don't really like to take on a daily basis. But let me tell you guys, this stuff, it tastes like lemon. You're gonna love it. And one of the things that I really love is that I take it twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. And it gives me the confidence that I need to know that my body is going to do what it needs to do as we are preparing to bring our third child into the world. I'm not pregnant yet, but I'm super hopeful that within the next few months, with the help of Ritual, this 3-in-1 drink mix for fertility support, that I'm going to be getting the good news any day now. So I want you guys to definitely go over and check out Ritual. Go over and check out Ritual right now. And they have a lot of different supplements on their website, not just the 3-in-1 fertility support. So if you guys just need supplements for a day-to-day basis, for women, for teens, your teen girls, they have some amazing products on their website. And for everyone who is a part of the Pod for Your Girl family, I want you guys to use the code GOCHI at checkout so you can save on your first order. Also, the link is in the description of this episode right now, so you can just head on over, click the link in this episode's description, head on over to Ritual and see their site, y'all. One of the best things about this brand that I love is that all of the ingredients are traceable. So if you're thinking about this fertility support drink mix, if you're thinking about this and you're family planning right now, it gives you the confidence to know, like, okay, I'm not just putting anything in my body, but I'm putting something in my body that I know where it comes from. So when you go on the website and you are getting ready to add your stuff to the cart, in the about, you'll be able to see where the ingredients come from, you guys. And I love it. It's amazing. This stuff is truly amazing. So please, please, please go check out the website. Check out the website. You got to have your daily dose of supplements and goodness and all of the things that you need to continue to drive your body, y'all. You can't do this alone. So go check out the website and start putting the nutrients back into your body. We pour so much out that we have to start to pour back into ourselves. And so, yeah, go check it out. Use the code GOCHI at checkout, or click the link in this episode's description so you can save at checkout. Hey girl, are you ready to turn that passion into a thriving online business? Whether you're just starting fresh or looking to grow what you've already built, Shopify is the platform that can make it all happen. I personally love how easy it is to use, even if you're not super tech savvy. From stunning website templates to powerful tools to manage inventory, payments, and shipping, Shopify has everything you need to run a successful business. And here's the best part: you don't need a big budget to get started. Shopify offers affordable plans to fit any stage of your business, and they've made scaling easy when you're ready to grow. So if you're serious about taking your brand to the next level, it's time to stop waiting and start doing. Go ahead and click the Shopify link in this episode's description, and you can sign up or transfer your existing website to a Shopify site today. Trust me, you will not regret it. Let's make those business dreams a Shopify reality. You guys, thank you guys.
I don't know. People I don't respect, and I don't work with people who don't respect me.
So you just work on your own. You just are like, hey, we can't be a team.
Listen,
but you know,
there was a time when I was on a board with people who were just not doing the work that we were commissioned to do. And I had the conversation. and they continue not to do the work you're commissioned to do. And as much as I wanted to do the work and I wanted to push through, and the old me would have said, I'm not going to let them stop me. At some point, you have to decide that you got to preserve your purpose, right? Like you can't expend your energy and be making yourself ill trying to get somebody to do the thing that you were commissioned to do.
Oh,
God knows all of this already. He knows what you're supposed to be doing. He knows they're going to act the fool. He already knows. God got you. And so if you have to walk away peacefully, you do so in such a way that preserves purpose, and you preserve your integrity, and you do it respectfully, right? And keep that grace. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for this opportunity. It has been amazing. I wish you all nothing but the best. If I could ever volunteer to support, I will still come and volunteer. If they call me and say, "Hey, I need you to come out and do this," I will do it. But am I going to sign up to be in communication with you every week, knowing you do not respect me? Yeah. Because I'm only asking myself to be in a situation that is going to cause me to respond at some point. And I opt out. Right. As much as I want to be, I opt out.
That's good, man. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be blessed by this today. Okay, be blessed. That's all I can say. Okay, we on our last stereotype. The last one is cultural incompatibility, where women of color may be judged on not fitting into like a cultural shape of what corporate America really is. So like your hair, your lashes, your weave, like, the colors, I don't know, from other cultures, it may be something else, and so you feel like as soon as you enter into the corporate world, your culture has to fall off and you have to become the corporate culture. Like, where is that today? Like, is that still the same? Are we still trying to break that stereotype, or is it a little bit broken? Is it still more accepting, like people accepting? No, you still feel like people have to fit this bubble when they walk into a corporate industry.
Yes. So I will tell you that I've seen the most success in my career when I wore my straight weave, when I had my nails a certain length and certain style, when I dressed a certain way, when I spoke a certain way. That's when I saw the most success, because people saw me as like
someone who can fit,
and somebody you can trust to be able to move. And we know in business, people do business with people they can trust. That's just how it is. They have to like you, they have to trust you, and they have to know you, and they have to, those things. But it comes down to how they feel about you, right? Even in companies with progressive cultures, the rules always are just different for us. And I hate to say that, because, people will say, well, why would you stay in corporate, and why this,
have my week on that one?
Listen, y'all. It's simple. I grew up in Miami Gardens. They call it Miami Gardens now. It was called the Bauhaus when I was growing up in Miami, in the hood, right? And when I came into corporate, I was the first person in my family to be in corporate America. I didn't know nothing about corporate. I remember getting my first performance evaluation, and the lady was telling me about what she thought, and I had a whole attitude, because I was like, first of all, you don't even know me.
You don't know me, man.
And I really wasn't in that performance evaluation talking to these folks like crazy, right? Right. But I had to understand corporate culture. And so, I'm grateful that I worked for companies that kind of gave me the behind the scenes of this is what they're looking for, right? And when I chose to play the game, I played the game well, and I was able to see success. When you opt out of playing the game, you can still see success, but you have to decide for yourself, how do you define success, right? Because for me, in this chapter of my life, success was being able to be my authentic self. If it meant that I didn't get promoted as often, I was okay with that. If it meant that I didn't get all of the stretch opportunities, I was okay with that. But did I get to show up more like me? Did I get to have my work-life balance? Did I get to wear my colorful nails that I love so much, and my long braids or my long weave or whatever I want to wear? Yes, and that meant something to me. And so there are companies that will allow you to do that, but understand that a lot of companies still hire people in leadership positions who have preserved this image of what a Black person looks like, and what they should be like to be in certain spaces. And that's not going to change until those positions change.
That does make sense. But my thing is like, okay, just because you're a professional and I have you here, like, does it make it right? No. Like, does that right? So if it's not right on the moral standpoint of corporate America, we know it's not right. They know it's not right. So like, why wouldn't they want to enforce the change?
Was it right
it's
for them
like,
to get up at this Republican convention they just
pull
had?
your mic up, 'cause I
Oh,
don't think
this hate rally they just had the other day where they got up there and talked about Puerto Rico being an island of floating trash. Did you see that?
no.
Okay, so at the Republican rally they had the other day, they had a comedian talking about Jewish people, Black people, Puerto Rican people.
Okay, I read
just
it.
being
I did
very
read about that.
right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it's not right. But here's the reality. A lot of the executives and companies were at that rally.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people who are in leadership, who maybe your manager was there. You don't know, because people get to be who they want to be outside
of work.
And so the problem we have in this country is that people are brought into work and they're expected to uphold the tenets and values of the company. And sometimes those tenets and values are racist, and sometimes they're not. But you still have people enacting policies, and these people are not nice people sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, it may not be right, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
This is the world we live in. And I'll give you this for food for thought. In my, I don't want to say too much, but I can say in my DEI work, it was no surprise that outside of the U.S., people were more inclusive than they were in this country. Yeah. But it's because in this country, we see what's happening right now. And so once we give people the green light that it's okay to be mean, it's okay to be, judgmental, and have these biases. Once you've said this is okay, how do you expect that to be turned off?
Yeah, it's like there's no accountability.
Correct.
Like real accountability to like, this is not what we expect of you in this country. And so if there's not any real accountability, then people are going to continue to shape themselves, shape their minds, shape their ideas, their beliefs, their norms, societal norms based around the fact that, well, there's no accountability. So my grandpa believed that. So, they may say it's wrong, but this is what my family believed. This is what we always believe. So we're going to keep on doing it. Even if it's behind closed doors, we believe it. And then every now and then when I get an opportunity to show my real colors, then I'll show it. But, this is really morally what I believe. So it doesn't matter what y'all are saying is right.
Yeah. And so what I taught people when I was doing diversity, equity, and inclusion work is DEI work to me is your commitment to learn about a perspective other than your own. Mm-hmm. That's what I started to tell people. It's like, it's not, this, that, like, because people want to make it all the kind of thing. DEI is you learning about people's experiences and their existence. Things that are outside of what you experience day to day. Because if you're going to have impact in the world, you need to understand that your perspective is not the only perspective that exists.
Right.
And as I started to travel globally, it made me realize how small America really is.
Yeah.
How small our perspectives are, but how much these small perspectives shaped so much of my world, because it was all I knew before I left here.
Yes.
And when I started going other places, I was like, now I got to unlearn all these things that I've been programmed to feel and think, because this world, like, I've been so engulfed in black, this, that. And it's like, it's so much more to life.
So much more.
We will never know that because most people are not going to leave here to see the other things.
To see the other things. Girl, I literally talked about that on Sunday. I had an opportunity to preach at a church, and I literally talked about how being in Paris shifted my mindset of ministry. Like, because before I went to Paris for the first time in 2018, 2019, I really was like so success driven. I was like, success, money. Like, you think like, when you get to a certain level, that's what deems you as successful, right? And that's what the US really drives. It's really in everything. It's not the forefront of the message, but it's behind. It's like an underlying, like, thing that's like stitched in everything, like succeed from
Yes.
But when you go to other countries, it does not exist. No. It doesn't exist.
Like, they get so much time off from work.
They get so much time off from work. Like, healthcare is different. Yeah. Like, my cousins, like, I have so much family in France. They were just like, y'all don't get this? Yeah. Y'all don't have that? Yeah. What? How do y'all live? Like, because they don't care if they never are homeowners. Like, at the end of the day, it's their wellness of life. That is the priority. Success is not the number one priority. Their number one priority from where they work, like even in the workplace, are you well? Mm-hmm. That is what they say to the people in France. Like, how are you doing today? That's first. Like, not how much money you can make us. What's the bottom line? Like, that's not a thing. Like, that's an after thought. It's like, you are well first. Here, you work for us. Take this for your family. Take this time off. Here's the benefits, health benefits, because we believe in you being well first. And then if you're well, then you could come back and, pour into the company and our business will thrive.
1,000%. I was in Dublin earlier this year and I was planning, it was a 2-day conference I was planning for one of our internal programs. And I remember putting together an agenda. Mm-hmm. I sent it out to the attendees. And it was like we were going to be in office from 9 to 3. And then I wanted us to have dinner from I think 4 to 6 or something. And I'll never forget one of the leaders from, I think it was Germany, was like, you can't expect people to be in office all day and then have dinner. I'm like, what do you mean? The company's paying thousands of dollars for them to travel to this event for 2 days. Like, they should plan to be. And they're like, no, that's not how we work over here. And I was so upset. And I could not make it make sense, right? So I'm talking to my manager. I'm like, and they're going to tell me, like, what does that even mean? And then I get over there. And then I realize, like, oh, wait, like this is all wrong. So we should not be planning to spend, this many hours of our day consumed with work, because that's not how other people are doing it. And then when I was there, I was talking about, I went to Bali earlier this year and I, spent 2 weeks, and they were like, do you have any vacation time left? Because you all don't get a holiday like that in the States. And I was like, ooh. For real. Because it's so different over here. Yeah.
And they were even telling me, even to your small jobs, if you work in the department store, you're still required to take 60 days of vacation time. And you don't even have to have a corporate, on a salary paid job. No, this is period. This is every worker.
Yeah. I forget what country it was. Was it, what was it? I can't think of where it was, but I had someone who was there with us who was saying that he worked for a year and then their country gives their citizens a year of paid time to figure out okay, this is work for you, this is not before they go back to work. They were talking about their paternal and maternal benefits and how different they are. And I'm just like, we really have it wrong here. But we don't know that because all we've ever been taught is 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Hustle, grind, buy a house, get in
2 jobs a day.
That's all we've ever been taught, and so that's all we know. But it's so much more to the world than what's being taught to us here. And so when I was doing DEI work, it allowed me to open my mind up to realize that there are so many other life experiences. And then when you think about people migrating different places and coming together, it's so many different experiences in that space. We can't just assume that everyone understands. This linear American experience. Because it's not all there is to the world.
It's not all there is to the world. Oh my God, that's so good. Listen, y'all, if you have the opportunity to travel, go out and visit other countries and see how it's really being done, that is an investment. Take the time to really go visit other countries and see, the different aspects of the world, because I kid you not, going to Paris changed my aspect on just being success driven. When I came back, I was like, no, I will no longer be success driven. I don't care. Success is not even a factor to me anymore. If it fails, if it goes forth, that's all on God. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to drive myself literally crazy trying to reach this pinnacle that the United States of America has made the American dream. No. Go out, visit other countries. The last thing that I want to do in Pat Your Weave segment is just kind of talk about these stats really quick. From Women in the Workplace report of 2023. They reported that women of color make up 18% of the U.S. population, but only 4% hold C-suite positions. And for those of y'all that don't know, C-suite positions are CEO, CFO positions, executive positions in the U.S. in corporate America. And so I just kind of want to get your aspect about that. Like, do you ever feel like a C-suite position is something that, like, well, first of all, were you in a C-suite position?
No.
Okay. Was that ever like a goal for you or something that you like saw yourself doing? And then what is your opinion on that? Like, as far as like, we're only at 4%. Like, how do you feel? Like, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel like that's what it is, right? This is what I'll say. Even if there are 4% in the C-suite, I would ask what percentage of that 4% actually has a voice. What percentage of that 4% is actually being included, being given the opportunity to make a difference? Like, because what's happened. So for those of you who don't know, when George Floyd happened, right? That was like a catalyst for a lot of things, right? People wanted to reconcile and, I'm so sorry.
Black America,
whatever. That was short-lived. It was like 2 years of go hard. We're so sorry. We're going to redeem ourselves.
I think Lululemon was one that just like, they implemented something and then they took it back. Like they went back on it. But they were firing a lot of,
Everyone did. But that was when you really saw an uptick in Black women specifically being charged to do the work, which is a separate conversation too. What I'll say is, I'm grateful to see any women, and especially Black women, in positions like C-suite, because I understand that most of the times when you think about the most diverse and inclusive teams, it's usually led by Black people, Black women, Latino, and people who are underrepresented lead the most diverse and inclusive teams typically, right? And so that means that there is a greater chance of having more diversity. But having said that, I'll say that, it's just time for things to change.
Yes.
And so I know, I always bring it, it's above me. I always say, God, you got it, because you see all of this. We don't have the power, right?
Right.
It's above us. I think that it's time for things to change. I'm praying that we see things change.
Yeah.
Because it has to. Like, the working class deserves to work and be respected and be paid fairly and treated well. And that just isn't the vision that some people have for this country.
Yeah. That's real. Like, and I feel you. Like, I feel like it is time to change. I'm just like, what is it going to take? Like, you know what I mean? That's my question. I'm just like, God, what is it going to take for us to really like implement change and stick to it? Like, not like we thought George Floyd was what it took, but then it's like, we didn't stick to it. You know what I mean? So you're right. God knows, He knows. And so we're going to be putting some prayer on that too.
It's above us.
And
right?
it's above us. We can.
We can do it.
We really can. Yeah. I be wanting to though.
Yeah.
I be wanting to do some stuff now. I'm like, maybe we need to rally. We need to get some march on Washington.
I'm gonna tell you what really works. It's taking the money away work. So when you stop spending, money, then you really are able to influence outcomes. But not enough of us will do it consistently.
You're right.
That's it. Because money is what drives this country, especially. And I don't know who listens from other places, but I know in America, the dollar is the voice.
Yeah.
And so when you start pulling back your dollars, it's when it's how you generate impact. But not enough of us have this.
It's gonna be like it's boycott. Yeah. Like
spending the money.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all heard her. So we gonna see. We gonna see how we can do that. On that note, we are going to pat our wings because we are just gonna be hoping and praying that things change in this country. We are hoping that we are able to break these stereotypes. Y'all heard it from our professional corporate girlie that a lot of these things are still existing. But what we can tell you guys though is go out, break barriers. Like, you're not 1,000 people, but you're still one person. And so if you are a woman of color and you are inspired by this episode to go into corporate America and be the change that is needed, we hope that you really, truly do whatever it takes. Don't know that you have a voice. Take Tiffany's advice on today. Use everything that she said in this episode to really, know how you want to talk, how you want to be perceived, and, know that you are not toning yourself down, but you are just, fitting into the corporate.
You're choosing who you want to share your passion with.
Okay, I like how you said that. Okay.
And I say one other thing on this topic, like, don't be afraid of corporate America, because I mentioned earlier in this conversation that I was the first person in my family to go into corporate. But because of that decision, I've really been able to change my family's trajectory, right?
Yay.
And so my children got to grow up different than I did. They had different opportunities for them. And corporate America ain't all bad, but it's not all good either.
Right.
And I think you have to accept it for what it is.
Right.
You can't try to make it what it isn't. And as long as you're willing to do that, you can have success. I've always been a different kind of leader. I've always prioritized serving and making sure that my people were well cared for and protected, even if it didn't always come across that way, because I had to grow as a person, right?
Right.
But I'm still in contact with so many of the people I once led as a leader, because they knew I cared about them as a person beyond the job. And our lives collectively are better because of the relationship that we had together during that time.
Oh, I love that. I really, really love that. So y'all heard her. Do not be afraid of corporate America. Go after those dreams. Go after those goals. And let us know, like, message the podcast and let us know, like, what you are doing in corporate America and how you are inspired to initiate change. Okay. All right, y'all. So we are moving into the faith-filled segment. And I know Tiffany shared a little bit about her journey, how she is going from corporate America to full-time entrepreneur. And I just want to know about the faith level, okay? The faith level that it takes to make that type of transition. And you have kept it real with us so far, so I know you're going to keep it real with us. And so, we just want to hear, like, where's your faith at right now? Like, how are you navigating that?
I will tell you this. I don't fight anything. I don't fight anything without faith. And I'm not fighting without faith. And I have to say that. And it's important because, I had to kind of look back. So I actually started like recording a series of videos, and I stopped because there were some things I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this just yet because my spirit didn't tell me to go. But like, I started sharing how like God has been with me through difficult situations, right? So one thing I'll tell you that I do anytime that I'm in the midst of like a huge transition, I've learned the habit of studying the ways that God has shown up for me in the past to renew my faith in what he will do in the future, right?
Ooh, that's good.
Because a lot of times we get into a thing and we're like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But it's like, what about the 10,000 times that God has come through before now? He should have enough runway for us to have faith in what he can and will do. And if he hasn't done it for you, think about the people around you that he's done something for, right? And for me, my faith is just so practical, like literally. I talked to God. I did and I'm not ashamed to say this because I'm honest. I did my business taxes the other day, y'all. Don't judge me. My accountant, he's like, girl, if you don't we worked together. But, as I was done, we had to talk about like me owing money or whatever. And I was like, it made me think for a second, like, oh my God, do I need to just go ahead and go back to work? And I was like, stop. God already knew this was going to happen, right? Like, I have to tell myself when stuff happens, but God already knew that was coming. God already knew this was going to happen. He already knows. And so when he's telling me to do this, obviously he's telling me to do it because he knows that these things are coming, right? And so I just tell myself, like, God knows. God is faithful. God has always had my back. And if you don't remember, literally get you a jar, write out the ways and the times God has come through for you, fold it up, put it in that jar. When you forget, go back and read it. Because it should remind you that he's never going to leave you. And he's never going to not come through for you. Like, it's just, I don't know how else to explain that.
Man, that's so good. Like, I feel like if you are not like a franchise owner, then any entrepreneur is a trailblazer because you're birthing something new, you're starting something new, like it's something that's never been done before. There are other juice brands, but there's no G and juice. There's no GN juice. There's no GN juice. So you have to be the trailblazer in that. And so that requires a lot of faith. It requires a lot of faith and vision. And you can't see, you have to, I love the faith jar thing. And I love like being able to go back and trace God and trace like, you know, what he's done for you before in your life so that you can continue to fill yourself up on faith. Because if you don't do that, like what else are you going to do? Like you're going to be stuck?
Yeah.
No, you can't be stuck.
Exactly.
You gotta move.
I tell people this, right? Like our saying is, you were born with the juice.
Oh,
you were born with the juice. It had
come on.
Your ingredients, and never be afraid to give the world a taste, right?
I love that.
So think about it, right? We are all one of one. We have all had our own experiences, and that is by design. So when you talk about me being like a juice company, but not being like other juice companies, there's no way I could be, because I'm running my own juice company, right?
Exactly.
And so what God is asking me to do is think about all those experiences he gave me before now, all the places he's put me, all the exposure he's given me, and what are you wanting me to use that for in this business, right? And so when I think about, for instance, diversity, equity, and inclusion, my company makes juices for people who don't like vegetables. Why? Because I understand people don't like vegetables. But I also understand this because in my DEI work, I had to understand the existence of people who are not like me. I enjoy vegetables, right?
Wow.
But you may not. But you still deserve to be healthy.
Exactly.
You still deserve to have a good gut microbiome. So let me get you these beets and these leafy greens that you might not otherwise eat in a way that you're going to enjoy them, so you can also be healthy. That's inclusive, right?
Man, I love that. So really, like, faith is actually built into your business's DNA. Because, like, you saying, like, y'all, you have the juice. Like, you know, like, that is, like, actually building somebody else's faith up. To, like, really tell them, like, you know,
But you got to take care of yourself. The thing about purpose is, you know, we can muddy it up. We can muddy the water because we don't take care of our bodies. We don't eat well. We don't sleep. We don't exercise. We don't do all the things that allows this vessel to keep going. And so in order for you to bring forth that creativity, that passion, that purpose that you really have in you, you got to take care of your vessel. And so I'm encouraging people to remember how special you are. And I'm empowering you to do the things you need to do to take care of yourself so that you can actually give us a taste of your juice. Let us see what you were born with. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, can I get some juice? Let me get some juice. I want some juice now. Come on. Like some super juice. Come on, with the faith juice over here. I love it. I really do. I can't wait.
Part of everything. And even now, I think more than any time in my life, I'm going to have to lean on God. And I want to be a better believer in that. I believe a lot of people believe God for difficult times. I'm intentional to try and pray during good times as well. But I want to get to a place where my faith is fortified so that I am able to honor him at all times. And I feel like entrepreneurship tends to bring people closer to God because you have to rely on him vision for, if you're doing it right, for the vision, for the connections, for the alignment, for the you have to rely on God for the purpose, just all of it. And so I'm deep in prayer. I'm doing my devotionals. I'm meditating on the word, not just reading it, but meditating and making it practical. And then I'm asking myself a question, and you might want to try this. After you meditate on the word, ask yourself, okay, now how am I going to integrate this into how I'm moving today? Right? Because then it's the works part of the
Come on.
Otherwise,
it's a day-to-day.
You know,
it's a day-to-day.
How it works is this.
Come on.
It's how am I going to integrate this? Does it make sense?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
One more.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm passionate about,
Come on.
About this. I was reading a passage the other day talking about how God is with you. And it was saying how before Jesus left that, you know, he told them that he would be with them. And he was gone and all of that, right? So like this is how I literally made it practical, right? Because it was also saying that people who don't know to look for him won't know that he's there.
Right.
So I was like, okay, how can I make this practical? So my mother raised me, right? And a part of my mom is always with me because she raised me. So whoever she was, she's giving that to me.
Exactly.
As I'm moving, I'm moving with her with me because she's always there. But after she left, she is still with me, right? And so no one else is going to know to look for my mom or pray for my, because she's not there, but I know to look for her.
Yeah.
And so I made it that plain for myself where it's like, God may not be right here, but I know that I was brought up in the truth of the word, in the gospel.
Yes.
God is always with me. And even when I don't see him, you don't have to know that he's here. I know that he's here, and I'm praying to God. And so I'm making it that practical. I'm asking myself, how can I apply this to my life? You get what I'm saying?
Come on, y'all. Y'all better be encouraged now. Come on. Y'all heard it from the entrepreneur herself. Okay. Y'all heard it from her. So listen, do not let your faith be dimmed in this season. Don't let it die out in this season. She said, fortify your faith. Okay. So make sure that thing is fortified, whether you got to be reading your word, you got to, make it plain, just like how she used her mom to make it plain and understand well, God is always with me. Do what you got to do to make sure that your faith stays on high, whether you're just now starting off in your business journey or entrepreneurship journey, or you are, 5 years in and your faith is dwindling. Listen, this is the spark that we sending you a spark today. Okay. This is the jumper cables. Be sparked up, do the work, because I love it. That's what I love about my sis. She is saying that she does the work. Y'all might not see it. Y'all might just see her juicing business flourishing out here in these streets. People, flocking to her doing her thing. Y'all see the successful business, but she's telling y'all behind closed doors, she is building up her faith. Okay. So listen. All right. I hope y'all taking notes. All right. Last but not least, I want her to share a little bit of words of wisdom of what would you say to your younger self, okay? If you had to start all over and just be real with that girl, 20 years ago, or, when you just came out of high school and you was fresh, what would you say to her? What would you say? And not back then, but if she was living in this generation, in the 2024 generation today, we heard about the stereotypes. We heard about, your journey and, what you've been through and everything. So what would you say to her starting right now?
That's a hard question to answer. This is what I would say. When I was just graduating high school and first went off to college, I was filled with so many limiting beliefs because I wasn't exposed to very much. I did not have very much access to things. And not just things, experiences, and to ideas, and to believe that I was capable of doing so much. If that makes sense. And so back then, I took what was given to me because I didn't believe that I even deserved or would be able to have more.
Wow.
Right? That includes being in relationships that did not serve my purpose. I mean, eventually God uses everything. Yeah. But the things I tolerated to have, things that I didn't think I could have on my own. The things that I allowed, the things that I survived that I probably could have skipped because I just deserved more and didn't believe that I was the person I am today because I didn't know what God was cultivating in me. Yeah. But he uses everything, right? Yeah. I'm not a religious person, but I'm very faith-filled. And so I would tell my younger self that you are worthy, you are deserving, and you are all the things that you want. You are those things already. Yes. And so it's only natural that you're going to attract those things. Don't let anybody tell you anything different, right? That's the first thing. And then I would just believe in my ability to do and be more often, right? So do and be more often. And I just feel like right now, part of the reason I'm going for it now, and I'm not going back into corporate just yet, I don't think I would need to, I don't believe I'll need to. But I told myself I wasn't because I don't want to be 60 saying what I told my 42-year-old self if I don't go for it right now. If you don't do it. So I know that time just keeps going. And I have to do what I know that God has in me. So he sees something I don't see sometimes. I know I got some things here, but he knows what I don't know. And I'm grateful to be chosen to live in this purpose. So.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I really, really love it. I think for each and every person out there, you have to know what God has called you to do first. You have to know your real assignment first before you really try to make these moves and be out here. Because if not, you'll be like on a rat race, like on a rat race of life, and you just, running the course, and you don't really have like an aim, like a direction, like of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do, but you're just in this rat race because you have no sense of purpose or sense of your gift or sense of your calling, sense of your assignment. But once you know your assignment and it's clear, then you can like actually truly move forward in what God has called you to do. Don't get me wrong. Some people, they don't care about all that. And if that's you, that's fine. Do what you do. But for those of us who are called, who are chosen, who we know God speaks to us, listen to him. Yeah. Listen to him. Listen to him. Don't be like, oh, well, God, I'm going to do that later. Or I'm going to come back to that. No, like, God has given you an assignment. You know what I mean? So that means like, no, I cannot put that on hold. I got to listen to God. I got to put my faith in, put my pedal to the metal and actually really, truly go, and so many of us, we hear God speak to us on do this, do that. But we're like, God, I'm going to do it later. I'm gonna come back to it. It's for real. No, he's not playing with you.
It's so for real. I have a voice message, and one day I'm gonna play it. Me and my girlfriend Jennifer were talking the week before my job was eliminated. I recorded a voice memo to her, and I distinctly recall saying, God has told me what to do already, and I haven't moved yet, and I got to stop playing around, because one thing I know is God ain't going to keep asking me to do the same thing before he gives to the next person who's been praying for this blessing that he's already given me. And you'll be mad when you see somebody else doing what you know you were supposed to do. It's because God wasn't going to keep waiting for you to keep wasting his time. He just went ahead and gave it to the next willing vessel, because there's too many willing vessels out here who know the thing that he's blessing you with right now, right? Yeah. So I always tell myself, like, I'm going to stop wasting God's time. And so it doesn't even have to be clear for me. I just need to know the step I need to take right now, because I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year.
That part.
I don't know what God is going to use this for.
Yes.
But what I do know is he's calling me to get my stuff in order.
Yes.
So when he's ready to use me, I'm in position and I'm ready to go.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my
100%.
Right
100%. And I will say, like, when you're called, you're not called to be the navigator.
Right.
God is the navigator.
Right.
He is going to navigate you. He's going to lead you and direct you. Your job when you're called is to say yes and to make yourself available. Yes. Okay, God, I'm available. And then he's going to tell you where to go. You know what I mean? But you have to know, like, okay, you have to hear him and say, daughter, this is what I've called you to do.
That's right.
You gotta know that. You gotta know this is what he's called me to do. And so then you can say yes, and then you can actually show up in your day to day. And so I'm so proud of you doing the thing, because you're doing the thing. You are, and you're gonna be a light to so many people. And we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here to support you, the Pop of Your Girl family. We're gonna be here to support our sis Tiffany. So y'all get ready for her juices. Get ready for her. We're gonna have you back.
Okay.
We're going to have you back to tell us about the journey and what the Lord is doing in your life from the different aspects, from the other aspects.
Yeah, and I thank you for inviting me here. We are so hard on ourselves. So I'll tell you that I don't give myself a lot of credit for the things I do, because I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and that doesn't necessarily deserve recognition. But I am grateful to be seen by people who recognize the effort I'm putting in. So thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome. I love you so much. Listen, follow her on TikTok, social media. Please do yourself a favor right now. Can you tell the people your social media and your website where they can get your juices, all the things?
Yeah. So on TikTok, my name is Tiffany Speaks. It's TIFFAN_E_Speaks. So Tiffany Speaks. Be careful, I have to say this, because unfortunately, I guess I made it. Somebody then created a fake page with my name.
Oh, Lord.
And it has an extra underscore at the end. So Tiffany Speaks with no underscore at the end. And then I'm GN's Juices on Instagram. So GANNSJUICES. And our website is www.gnsjuices.com. Again, that's GANNSJUICES.com. We do ship. We ship throughout the Southeast and the Midwest, and we also offer local pickup and delivery within Atlanta.
Yes, and I'm gonna be getting my juice. Okay, so just know that I can't, and I cannot wait to try it. Like for real. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you are encouraged, inspired, and share this episode with somebody. Go follow Pop for Your Girl on social media, YouTube, Instagram. Just put in Pop for Your _girl, and it is gonna come up. But until next time, we love you guys, and we can't wait to share more of the Pop for Your Girl world with you guys. Peace.
Pop for your girl.
That's right, podcast.
It's pop for your girl.
We got to go out.
Pop for your girl. It's pop for your